Hey everybody, welcome to Module 5. I'm still trying to get better from the flu and have been struggling with the fever and yucks. So we will not have on-campus class this week. I've got work set for you in Module 5, and I'm hoping this video will help get you started on your work. If you've got any questions, I'm definitely available by email or phone call, so don't hesitate to reach out. I am more than happy to help. Just keep in mind the course calendar really should help kind of guide your work. We've got a few projects that we're working on for a few weeks. So last week, if you didn't kind of dive in to the IRIS modules, you will want to make a choice this week and kind of start working on your part for the IRIS module. Next week, you're going to choose from the MAST modules, and we're doing that just so that you've got a really good idea of modules that are available free that you can use when you're in the classroom. I'm going to walk you through some specifics in the module in just a second for Module 5. The big assignment this week is your key assessment check-in 1. Next week, there are several things we'll be working on. You've got an assessment project. We're going to start working on this in class and start looking at data. This assessment project is going to have to do with some data analysis and creating some assessments around that. So we'll be beginning it in class. You'll be finishing it out of class. You'll be doing a reflective learning and formative assessment like we've been doing all along. The chapters and the videos that you'll be watching this week, you don't have a separate reflective learning to do with them. I want you to include your readings from this module and your reflective learnings in Module 6. So if you kind of want to work constructively, you might want to go ahead and start your reflective learning for Module 6 and capture your key learning from the videos this week. I've linked in several great videos. These are all from the teaching channels. None of these are very long videos. Most of them are some really quick snippets, but give you a great idea of ways that assessment can be used and is being used in classrooms today. So great opportunities here. I also wanted to give you an opportunity to find another video that would specifically address something you're trying to learn about. So the 5th video is one of your own choice. And again, most videos are anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes. So they're not long time commitments, but they do pack some fantastic information in a short amount of time. So I just want quick summary takeaways from what you've seen in the videos. And then again, chapters 6 and 7, we talked about chapters last week. I'm really expecting you to capture those big ideas from the chapters. They've got some excellent figures in every chapter that conceptualizes the big picture of assessment and how it pertains to both the general education classroom and working with students with disabilities. So look for those big ideas and aha moments that you can capture for your reflective learning. So links are also in the module. The IRIS modules, IRIS has some fantastic resources. They're all from Vanderbilt. They've updated a lot of the resources in this past year. So once you go to the IRIS module and choose, there's 2 different ways you can choose in the IRIS module. Let me click on this to walk you into that content. So when you walk into the IRIS module setup, there are just tons and tons of resources across a variety of subjects. We're obviously focusing in this class on assessment, so that's what I want you to check over here on the side. Click on this assessment button or just click on this down arrow for assessment and notice there's 80 resources. So I'd like you to either choose one of these options. 1, do a module, or choose a case study and an information brief to read. Either way, if you overlap with another student, that's okay, because I really want you to focus on something that will help you as a teacher. So choose an area that you feel like, oh wow, I really need to understand, functional behavioral assessment, or, you know what, I don't think I understand high stakes testing for students with disabilities. So maybe this is the one I choose. Once you click on the module, these are self-paced, but you're going to go in and follow the structure that it has set up. It says 2 hours to complete. Most of the time when I've done a module, it's taken me anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. It just depends on how long you want to spend on each section. But you start with the challenge and work your way around the circle. I'm not asking you to use the assessment, but rather I'm asking you to do what we've been doing in our other modules. Get those big ideas from the module. Then you're going to come back here and click on the Google Doc to choose the module that you wanted to work on. So make sure that you sign up. Aaron's already dove in there and he chose one. So list your name and make sure that you've listed a module. Then after you list the module that you're going to be working on, when you go to Module 6, there are some Google Slides that I've linked in that are blank. And I've got a template there for you to excuse me, I'm waiting for the computer to catch up with my thinking. Module 6, I went ahead and started Google Slides. The template is there and ready to go, and there's one for each student. So find your name, and then you'll share the content for your module. I've got directions in slide 2, and then afterwards you're going to see, we start out with Maddie. Maddie's going to list the module name, then she's going to summarize the key learning, then you're going to tell how teachers can use that content. So if you had to share that out with somebody else, what would you tell them? And then the last thing you're going to share is one tip or a trick or a tool that you learn in the module that everybody can use. Say in the module that Maddie was choosing, she really found like 3 great things. You can definitely add slides. The minimum that you can share is 3. But if you want to add another slide or 2, you are welcome to do that. If you want to screenshot something you found in the IRIS module that you think would be helpful, please do that. Or if you want to link into a specific part of the module, you can absolutely do that down in the notes. But you're going to share a quick view of what you learned from the module. That's Module 6, but I know some of you really like to work ahead. In Module 6, you're going to put the slides together. We're actually going to do that in class in Module 7. We're back here, though, in Module 5. So there are several readings and videos to watch. You're going to capture that key learning in your Module 6 reflection. You're going to start prepping for Module 7 by working on the IRIS module. What is actually due in this module is your key assessment check-in part 1. I've linked in the template for you and the rubric is set up the same way key assessment rubrics are always set up. I also have given you an exemplar to look at. And so I'm going to click on the exemplar just to give you an idea of what I'm expecting. We are only working on task 1 for this first check-in, so I've filled in the area for task 1. So this should be based on a student who you are able to observe in your current hours that you are doing with your cooperating teacher. So you're going to tell the age of the student's sex, male, female, gender unknown, and what grade they're in, the school they are in. You're not going to include the name of the student, but you can give the student a pseudonym if you would rather address information. You're welcome to do that. Oh, but please spell pseudonym correctly. All right. You're going to tell why they receive services and make sure that you are including the specific IDEA area of eligibility. Note that I didn't just say specific learning disability, but I told what area they qualified in. So if they qualify under other health impairments, be sure that you list that subdivision. Then they briefly describe their academic areas for struggle. These should match. right? So if their disability is in reading fluency, then I would expect that their academic area of struggle would be reading fluency. If they qualify under reading comprehension, I would expect them to struggle in reading comprehension. And then you're going to talk about what their Tier 1 interventions look like. That's specific to the general education classroom. So I gave some very specific examples here. Fifth graders have 90 minutes of reading instruction. They use Scott Forsman curriculum. So whatever you know about the curriculum. If you don't know all of this information yet, then know that you are expected to learn this information. So while I understand that you might not have all the answers yet, I do want you to fill in something here, and I'm going to give you some examples. So, for example, under school assessment, I might not be able to find that information yet, but I do expect you to tell me the school data was not available by the due date, but I've requested this information from my cooperating teacher, right? Or maybe, yeah, I looked for this information and the school said that I needed to wait to find it out later, or they haven't gotten back their iReady scores. Tell me, if you don't have the information, how you will get the correct information by the time task 2 is done. As long as you've detailed out a plan to identify the information and have some information, right? I don't have all the information, but I do have 2 pieces of information listed here. Then you will be able to earn all the points for task 1. We're not on task 2 or 3 yet, just task 1, and just be as specific as you possibly can about the information you have for your student. And keep in mind when you're discussing this information that you need to make sure you're doing this confidentially with your cooperating teacher, that there's no other students in the room, that they're only certified or classified teachers who are all bound by the same HIPAA and FERPA obligations, that you're not talking about this in a hallway or anywhere where another adult might overhear. All right, so that's the big assignment for this week. Most of you are working on still collecting formative assessment data over 3 weeks for the different sections. If you have not been able to clarify a schedule with your cooperating teacher, they've said, sure, you can collect the data, but they haven't yet worked with you on specifically when you can collect the data, or if they only teach reading intervention and you need to be partnered with somebody else for the math interventions, please communicate that with me by email this week so that I can help you ensure you're on track. For a few of you, you have started collecting data but don't have it official yet, or you don't have all 3 weeks or all 3 sets of data, then make sure that you are keeping in contact with me. I just don't want you to get too far off schedule, but it is okay if at this point you're still collecting data and are just in that week 1 of data collection for behavior or for behavior and math, however you're doing that. All right, any questions? Please let me know by email or give me a call. Otherwise, I will see you all on next week when we start working on our data analysis, and I'll also be working with you on observations and what that observation assessment data looks like. Happy learning!